Hey folks, just thought I would give you a breakdown on my Fi. What I think I'm going to do is try and make this a little bit of a series of some of the bikes that I have and some of the bikes that I've had. You know, ones I currently ride, ones I currently have, and ones I've had in the past. Maybe some bikes that I would like to have too. That would be kind of cool as well. So here is my Fi. Got a bit of a hardcore Fi. I love it. I mean, this is one of my all-time favourite bikes I've ever owned. So starting from the frame. So frame on this is a large on-one fatty V2, which I got acid dipped. It was originally in green. I liked it. I liked Armour Green. It was actually wicked, but I just had it for a little while, so I kind of got bored of it. So what I done was I got it acid dipped. I took it home and I polished it. Took it back to the guys who acid dipped it, and then they put a UV clear coat on it. The UV clear coat means that it doesn't go yellow in ultraviolet light. You know, when it's light from the sun comes down, it turns a lot of things yellow, whereas this one won't yellow. So it'll always do that nice kind of silvery finish. Has been on for a long time now, so it is starting to look a little worse for wear or a little dull. I am contemplating painting the bike again. I can't help it, I just like doing it. I actually like painting myself, so I might even do it myself. So that's the frame. The frame is 170mm spacing on the back end. It's a 69-degree head, I think off the top of my head. There you go, head. Can't remember what the reach is, never really measured it, don't really care. Everybody talks about reach, but it's comfortable. I find it quite comfortable, easy to work with, so I'm not really worried too much about reach. Numbers aren't my big worry. I just think if I jump on the bike and I like it, then it doesn't matter. So from there, we'll go. It's got 150mm dropper with what I call a dropper condom on it, which is it's just an inner tube, covers the dropper, stops all the crap coming up off the back wheel and going into seals and destroying the dropper. Just a really common way of breaking droppers. You open up a dropper, inside it's just covered in mud, absolute gunk and crap. So this stops the dropper from getting covered in crap. So there is cable tie goes around the collar, then you've got the dropper section that goes up here, then the inner tube goes around and clamps on the seat post clamps. I put a little hole in it to allow air, and for me sometimes to squirt some oil in and stuff like that. But it keeps, you know, most of the gunk out of there. It does get a little sticky sometimes because there's a chance to clear water and stuff like that, but it keeps all the grit out of it, which destroys the bikes or destroys the droppers. So from there, what have we got on it? We have some random headset. It's been on there for the last like 4 years I've owned this bike, so I don't know what it is, but it works really well. Same goes with the bottom one. I do actually have a Hope one in the shop. Just never got around swapping it because this works really well. I didn't want to swap something. If it works fine, just leave it, you know. It says nuke-proof stem, but I just like the colour, kind of matches everything else. Forget this part here. Sometimes it's on there, sometimes it's not. This is just a light for cycling at night, which I think I need to charge actually. I'll take that off and charge that now, before I forget. The bit on the left here is a quad lock for my phone. I don't normally use one because I don't get lost or anything like that easily, so I don't need it as a sat nav or anything like that. And I do Strava, but you can Strava with your phone in your pocket quite easily, so you don't really need one. But I play a game called Turf, and Turf really, just sit down, like, Turf really requires you to have your phone at hand so you can look for GPS coordinates and stuff like that. If you want to know what Turf is, have a look at turfgame.com. So, go with the cockpit. On here we have Chinelli grips. Can't remember what model they are. It uses a bar wrap, which is then glued in onto the, I forgot what they're called, collars, glued into the collars. From there it has Shimano 595 levers. Yes, I know they're old, but I really like the feel of them. I quite like the look of them too, so that kind of helps. And from there we have dropper, Brand X 150mm drop, really good droppers. way better than the old generation of reverbs. Still probably say better than the new generation, because who needs hydraulic levers? What a stupid idea that is. Genelli grip, 595 levers. They've got little ends on them just to give me more grip. Plus I sell them, so sometimes you've got to put things on that you sell to let people see that you use them as well. And then from there we have the box 1 components, Prime 9 box 1, shifter. Stem is just a generic silver stem. It's quite cool. I like it, suits it really well. And we run Renthal fat bar carbon, which are 180 on the width, 38mm on the rise, 31.8 on the clamp. Starting from there, then, if we're going to go down, we have the horse logo. The horse logo is actually to do with the branding that I put on the bike after I got it. After I got it acid dipped. Sleipnir, which is the name of the bike, is the horse that Odin rode. So it was his steed, so that makes me Odin. And that's why the bike's called Sleipnir. Forks that I've got in it are 100mm Blutos. I would have preferred the 140mm Macedons. At the time I couldn't get them. Now I'm a supplier for the company that deals with the Macedons, so that would be Hotlines, which is subsidiary Chain Reaction Cycles. So I'll probably get 140mm on this and turn this thing into an absolute weapon of a bike, but just not yet. Money constraints and all that. So I got these were a really good deal. They were normally about 600 quid, and Chain Reaction done just a flash sale. They were like 250 or something like that. They went down to, just to get rid of them. It was like bang, buy them straight away. Okay forks, a little better than China forks I had on it before, but not as good as I would really like. But they do the job really well, so I can't really complain. So from there we have the 2 or 3. These are China rotors. I just call them Uberbike rotors because it's the same freaking rotor as the Uberbike one, just with a different brand name on it. So I'd probably find whoever makes Uberbike rotors is the same people who make this one, as a slightly different colour. I have an Uberbike on the back and I will show you that one. It has 4-pot MT520 calipers, really good calipers. I never had an issue with them. A lot of people moaned about the ceramic piston cracking, but I've never had it. Been there for years, and I'm a big bloke who rides the bikes hard. Never had an issue. Fantastic stopping power, better than my Diori XTs that are on one of my other bikes. But I think that's actually to do with pads more than it has to do with anything else. Shimano pads suck. The pads that are on this are EBC's Elite pads. They are copper sinter rather than an alloy sinter that you'll get on most Elite pads. So they are about £19 for one set. So they're quite expensive, but really, really good. I get them really cheap because I'm a trade supplier for EBC. What else have we got? Small deflector just to help stop any damage coming up and hitting the stanchions. That just fits in no more. If I pump the tyre up, it does actually rub off of it. They could have done a better job of putting a higher bridge on the Rockshox forks, because a 4.8 only just fits in. But Surly are actually renowned for being slightly oversized, so it's probably bigger than a 4.8 or more 5.0, something like that. Moving on, we have nuke-proof bottom brackets. Now I went through a multitude of bottom brackets on this bike. I've tried square taper at one point. I used to have it as a dual up front, not anymore, single up front. So I went through a multitude of different bottom brackets, cranks, things like that to try and get it to work. The amount of bottom brackets I went through since I put this SRAM GPX on is ridiculous. So I've started looking around, getting more expensive ones, nuke proof, and do ABIC 5 rated stainless steel enduro bearings. Fantastic bottom brackets. Not as good as something like Wheels Manufacturing, but not as expensive Wheels Manufacturing. I'm probably talking about £55 for a bottom bracket versus like £35 for an Uberbike one with stainless steel bearings that will last you, well, 2 months if you're lucky. Never buying them ever again. Anyway, moving on from that, it has GXP cranksets. It was originally, I think, a dual crankset. I'll need to go and have a look at the other side. It might actually be a single. With Crank Brothers Stamp 7. Can't know. I don't remember. Stamp something anyway. Massive pedals, good grippy, destroy your legs. Here is the actual official Uberbike rotor. Unlike the other one, it has black fins, but it's exactly the same as the rotor on the front, just with black fins. Now, my opinion, black fins means paint. Paint means less heat dissipation because it doesn't hit the metal directly. Is it better, is it bad? I don't know. It's 2 or 3, still big enough. Melted 11 daylights out of this. First day I went out in it. Went down Thorny Lee with a couple of mates, and it's steep fucking hell. Oh god, that's a steep hill. Should add a beep in there. So from there on in, it has Ringle rim. Same idea with the tubeless setup on that. And a Hope fat snow hub. It's basically a Pro 4 widened. Good hubs. I kept breaking hubs all the time. With some of the cheaper ones that are out there, so it has a more expensive one. Sourced and built by BG Cycles, despite the fact I'm a bike shop. I'm not a Hope dealer. So Bernard is, who owns BG Cycles Portobello. We're friends, so I got him just to source it and build the wheel. Made my life easier. I was busy at the time, so got that done. What else have we got? So it was it was always a single crank. It didn't, so it wasn't dual. Oh, no, it was dual, which I converted to single. It does actually have an oval. Oh, the bike's going to stay there if I do that. So it does actually have an oval chainring. Do they make any difference? No, not really. Runs absolutely minging, needs washed. Prime 9 box 2, cassette, derailleur and chain. Works really well. Never had major issues with it on the Fatty. It does. Wouldn't say it's any better or any worse than the Shimano stuff. The idea was the fact that it's only a 9-speed and the chains might be wider or stronger, which actually might be true. But it doesn't fit between the gears any better. So you still get an odd time where it doesn't shift right and stuff like that. So that can be a pain in the ass like every other bike out there. The back tyre is a Surly Edna 4.3, so 26 inch 4.3, slightly skinnier than the front tyre. It's just due to width constraints on the frame. Can't get any bigger than a 4.3. You can fit a Maxxis 4.8, but Maxxis are made smaller. So Maxxis 4.8 is actually the same size as an Edna 4.3. I've actually physically had it checked. I measured it with a vernier and stuff like that with one of my other customers that had exactly the same bike. Well, his had a V1, not a V2. But that's really it. Nothing much else to tell about the bike. I don't want to make the video seriously long. Some box stickering straight out of Valhalla. The older people that know straight out of Compton will find that amusing. Some nuke-proof branding and stuff like that, just because I've got the nuke-proof gear on it. But what else is there? That's all I can think of. I do have a Voodoo saddle. It's originally owned a Voodoo Wazoo, one of their Voodoo's fat bikes. It's what's kicked me off on the fat bike scene. The first sort of fat bike was a Voodoo Wazoo. These were really good saddles, but it's starting to break in the middle now. So it's old, and I need to get a new one. And I was going to be a Selly S&P dealer, just never got around to it yet. Lots of other things on my plate. So I will eventually get the seat changed over. Selly S&P TKR. It's a really good saddle, which is on some of my other bikes, which I'll do a video on as well. Okay, but that's us getting to 14.5 minutes, so I will leave you with that. Give you a quick shoot back of what it is now the light's gone. There we go. That's my Fatty.